The air inside your home is likely more polluted than the air outside, and you're breathing it all day. Formaldehyde from furniture, benzene from plastics, chemicals from paint and cleaning products. NASA once studied how plants behave in sealed environments. What they found was simple. Certain plants continuously absorb airborne toxins. Today, I'm showing you 20 that actually matter, ranked from impressive to extraordinary. Let's start. Number 1. Snake plant. The snake plant doesn't look dramatic, tall, rigid, blade-like leaves, but it's one of the toughest biological systems you can bring into a home. Snake plants have thick, waxy leaves that provide significant surface area for gas exchange. In controlled testing environments, they demonstrated the ability to reduce benzene, formaldehyde, xylene, and toluene. But what makes them unique is what happens at night. Most plants open their stomata, tiny pores used for gas exchange, during the day. At night, they shut down. Snake plants don't. They use CAM metabolism, which allows them to continue carbon dioxide uptake after dark. That means, while you're sleeping, the plant is still performing gas exchange. Is it turning your bedroom into an oxygen chamber? No, but it is one of the few houseplants that continues metabolic activity overnight. And that consistency matters. They also thrive under neglect. Low light? Fine. Mist watering? Fine. Dry air? Fine. The thick leaves store moisture, which makes them drought resistant. Overwatering is the only real threat. Placement matters. Bedrooms are ideal because of their nighttime exchange pattern. Offices with artificial light also work well. If you want one plant that demands almost nothing and contributes consistently, snake plant is your baseline. Number 2. Spider plant. If the snake plant is resilient, the spider plant is adaptable and scalable. Spider plants have long, arching leaves that create a wide flowing structure. That shape increases surface area exposure to circulating air. In controlled research environments, spider plants showed strong ability to reduce formaldehyde, one of the most common indoor pollutants due to pressed wood, plywood cabinetry, and synthetic fabrics. Formaldehyde exposure at low levels can cause eye irritation, throat discomfort, and headaches. It's everywhere in modern interiors. Spider plants help reduce the concentration gradually through continuous absorption. But here's where they become powerful. They multiply. Those dangling offshoots, called plantlets, can be rooted in soil or water. Each one becomes a fully functioning plant within weeks. That means one plant turns into many, and air support improves with plant density. Unlike high-maintenance tropical plants, spider plants tolerate inconsistent watering, indirect light, and normal household temperature fluctuations. They thrive hanging near windows, on shelves, even in bathrooms with moderate light. They're also safe around pets, compared to many other common houseplants. The combination of strong formaldehyde support, easy care, and rapid propagation makes them one of the most practical plants you can own. Number 3. Peace lily. Peace lilies look delicate. They're not. Broad, dark leaves, white spathes, deep green structure. In early sealed chamber testing, peace lilies performed strongly across multiple pollutants, including ammonia, benzene, and formaldehyde. That broad-spectrum performance is what separates them. Most plants excel at 1 or 2 compounds. Peace lilies showed capacity across several. But filtration isn't their only value. They transpire heavily. Transpiration releases water vapor into the air. In dry indoor environments, especially during winter heating, humidity can drop dramatically. Low humidity dries nasal passages, increases respiratory irritation, worsens dry skin, increases static electricity, may increase viral persistence. Peace lilies help gently raise humidity levels in their immediate environment. That doesn't replace a humidifier in extreme dryness, but it contributes. Another advantage: communication. When they need water, they visibly droop. When watered, they rebound within hours. That feedback loop makes them easier than people expect. They tolerate low to medium light. Direct harsh sun can scorch them, but bright indirect light keeps them thriving. Placed in living rooms, bedrooms or offices, they provide both air support and visible vitality. They're one of the most balanced options on this list. Number 4, Boston fern. Boston ferns are not minimalist plants. They are dense, hundreds of thin fronds, thousands of tiny leaflets. That density creates enormous surface area, and surface area matters in air exchange. In controlled testing, Boston ferns demonstrated strong formaldehyde reduction capacity compared to many other houseplants, but they also transpire aggressively. They require consistent moisture, and because of that, they release noticeable water vapor into the air. In heated homes during winter, humidity can fall below 30%. That's dry enough to irritate airways and skin. Boston ferns naturally help moderate that. Bathrooms are excellent placement locations because humidity supports their health. They prefer bright, indirect light and consistently moist soil, not soaked, but never fully dried out. They are not as forgiving as snake plants, but in return, they offer high leaf mass, strong transpiration, and dense filtration surface. If you're willing to water consistently, they reward you with output. Number 5, Areca palm. Now we move from compact plants to structural volume. Areca palms introduce scale, multiple stems, long fronds, significant biomass. In controlled environments, they performed well for xylene and toluene reduction, chemicals released from adhesives, paints, and synthetic materials. But the real impact of the areca palm is size. A larger plant contains more leaf surface. More leaf surface equals greater total gas exchange potential. They also release noticeable humidity through transpiration, and visually they transform a room. That psychological component matters. Studies consistently show that rooms with greenery are perceived as having fresher air, even before chemical changes are measured. Areca palms prefer bright indirect light and consistent watering. They don't tolerate deep shade well. In living rooms with space and light, they act like environmental anchors. They won't replace mechanical filtration, but they contribute consistently and at scale. The first 5 were foundational, resilient, broad performers, easy wins. Now we move into specialists. These are plants that perform in difficult conditions, low light, higher humidity, chemical-heavy environments, and target pollutants that often get ignored. Let's continue. Number 6, English ivy. English ivy is not flashy, but it's strategic. Trailing vines, small, lobed leaves, controlled growth indoors. In research environments, English ivy demonstrated measurable reduction in airborne mold particles under controlled conditions. That matters because mold spores are everywhere, especially in bathrooms, basements, laundry rooms, and humid climates. Air purifiers can trap spores, but they don't compete with mold growth. English ivy does something different. Its leaves absorb airborne particles, while root-associated microbes contribute to breakdown processes. Some research suggests English ivy may reduce airborne mold concentration significantly within enclosed spaces when maintained properly. It also showed capacity to reduce benzene, formaldehyde, xylene, and toluene in sealed chamber experiments. But here's the key. It thrives in cooler environments. Bathrooms with indirect light. Basements with moderate humidity. Laundry rooms. It prefers moist, but not saturated soil and moderate light. Too much direct sun can scorch leaves. Placement near problem areas makes sense. It's not a miracle mold solution, but as a continuous biological support system in damp environments, it's one of the smartest choices available. Number 7, golden pothos. If any plant on this list could survive neglect as a sport, it's pothos. Heart-shaped leaves, trailing growth, almost impossible to kill. In controlled environments, pothos demonstrated capacity to reduce formaldehyde and certain volatile organic compounds. But what makes it powerful isn't just what it removes, it's how much of it you can grow. Pothos grows aggressively. Each cutting can root in water within days. That means you can distribute multiple plants throughout a home quickly. And density matters. More leaf surface equals more passive exchange. Pothos tolerates low light, artificial office lighting, irregular watering, dry air. It can grow in soil or permanently in water. That adaptability makes it ideal for offices with fluorescent lighting, apartments with limited sunlight, shelves and high placements where other plants struggle. It won't dramatically change air overnight. But 10 pothos distributed around a space create a measurable cumulative effect over time, and that's the real strategy. Number 8. Rubber plant, Ficus elastica. Rubber plants look almost artificial. Thick, glossy, dark leaves with a wax-like finish. But those thick leaves serve a purpose. They provide durable surface area capable of trapping particulates, including dust and fine airborne particles, on their surface. In controlled testing environments, rubber plants demonstrated ability to reduce formaldehyde concentrations. But beyond chemical absorption, they play another role: particulate interception. The broad leaves physically collect airborne dust. When you wipe them weekly, you're manually removing trapped particles that would otherwise recirculate. That makes maintenance part of the filtration process. Rubber plants also tolerate moderate light conditions, though they prefer bright indirect exposure. They don't demand high humidity and are relatively drought-tolerant compared to ferns. Their thick leaves also resist damage from dry indoor air. In rooms with electronics, televisions, computers, routers, rubber plants add biomass and particulate interception without requiring high maintenance. They're durable environmental anchors. Number 9. Chinese evergreen, Aglaonema. Some rooms barely have light. Interior offices, hallways, apartments with one window. Most air-supporting plants fail there. Chinese evergreen does not. Aglaonema evolved under forest canopies. That means it tolerates low light better than almost any plant on this list. In controlled testing, it demonstrated formaldehyde reduction capacity even under moderate light levels. That's important because many plants reduce performance dramatically in shade. Chinese evergreen maintains metabolic activity in low-light environments. It also tolerates irregular watering and normal indoor temperature variation. The leaves are thick and patterned, increasing total surface exposure. Placement matters here. Interior rooms with limited airflow can accumulate stagnant air pockets. Adding plants in those zones contributes gentle biological exchange and prevents those areas from becoming completely inert. Chinese evergreen isn't flashy, but it survives where others don't. And survival equals continuous function. Number 10. Bamboo palm. Bamboo palm introduces vertical density, thin stems, feathered fronds, significant leaf mass. In research settings, bamboo palms performed well in reducing benzene and trichloroethylene, compounds associated with paints, solvents, and certain cleaning agents. These are less commonly discussed pollutants, but still present in many modern interiors. What makes bamboo palm valuable is its combination of leaf mass, humidity contribution, moderate light tolerance. It prefers bright indirect light, but tolerates moderate indoor conditions. Because of its frond structure, it increases air contact across multiple leaflets rather than one solid surface. That feathered structure increases exchange opportunity as air circulates naturally through a room. It also releases moisture steadily, contributing to humidity stability. Unlike mechanical humidifiers, it doesn't oversaturate a space. Placement in living rooms or offices with moderate light makes sense. It requires consistent watering, but not excessive care. And unlike some palms, it remains manageable indoors. We've covered resilient plants. We've covered specialists. Now we move into plants that combine strong pollutant support with either high biomass, medicinal value, or unique environmental contribution. These aren't just decorative. They change how a space feels. Let's continue. Number 11. Dracæna marginata, dragon tree. Long, narrow leaves edged in red. Upright growth. Minimal footprint. Dracæna marginata doesn't look dense, but it performs well in controlled testing for benzene, formaldehyde, trichloroethylene, and xylene. That matters because most plants show strength in one category. Dracæna species demonstrated multi-compound reduction in sealed studies. Here's why that's significant. Modern homes rarely have just one pollutant. Furniture releases formaldehyde. Paints release toluene. Electronics and adhesives contribute benzene derivatives. Dracæna provides broader coverage. Its leaves are long and numerous, increasing total gas exchange surface without taking up much floor space. That makes it ideal for apartments or offices where space is limited, but ceiling height allows vertical growth. It tolerates moderate light but prefers bright indirect conditions. Overwatering is its biggest threat. It prefers soil to dry slightly between waterings. Another advantage? Longevity. Dracænas grow slowly and can live for years indoors with minimal structural change, meaning your environmental support system is stable long-term. It's not flashy. It's quietly comprehensive. Number 12. Aloe vera. Most people think of aloe as skincare. They miss the environmental value. Aloe demonstrated capacity to reduce formaldehyde and benzene in controlled environments. But what makes aloe interesting isn't just filtration. It's responsiveness. When air quality deteriorates significantly, aloe leaves can develop brown spotting. It's not a precise sensor, but it can visually reflect stress conditions. That gives you biological feedback. Beyond air support, aloe contains over 70 biologically active compounds in its gel, including vitamins, enzymes, amino acids, and anti-inflammatory polysaccharides. That means you're growing. Air support, topical burn treatment, minor wound care, skin-soothing gel in one plant. Aloe prefers bright light and very infrequent watering. Overwatering kills it faster than neglect. Because it's a succulent, it stores water in its thick leaves, making it ideal for dry climates. Placement near sunny windows works best. Aloe isn't about massive biomass. It's about dual-purpose value. Number 13. Parlor palm, Chamaedorea elegans. Compact, elegant, soft fronds. Parlor palms have been grown indoors since the Victorian era, long before air quality research existed. In controlled testing environments, parlor palms demonstrated capacity to reduce formaldehyde and certain VOCs, but their strength lies in adaptability. They tolerate lower light better than larger palms. They don't require high humidity. They remain compact, making them ideal for desks, shelves, and smaller rooms. Leaf structure matters here. Each frond contains dozens of thin leaflets, increasing exchange surface area relative to plant size. They also transpire moderately, contributing gentle humidity support without overwhelming small spaces. Parlor palms are particularly useful in bedrooms or offices where you want greenery without large floor plants. They require consistent but not excessive watering. They grow slowly, which means maintenance stays manageable. They don't dominate a room. They integrate into it. Number 14. Chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemums are one of the most effective plants identified in early sealed chamber air studies for benzene removal. But they come with nuance. Unlike snake plants or pothos, chrysanthemums are flowering plants that require bright light and regular care. They are not long-term, low-maintenance houseplants unless you provide strong light. However, during their flowering phase, they provide dense leaf mass plus bloom structure. Their effectiveness in sealed testing environments was notable, particularly for benzene, a compound found in plastics, synthetic fibers, and vehicle exhaust infiltration. Placement near bright windows is necessary. They prefer consistent moisture and good airflow. Here's the key. Chrysanthemums are powerful but temporary indoor performers. They work best as periodic high-output additions rather than permanent neglect-friendly plants. Think of them as seasonal air supporters, high performance, higher maintenance. Number 15, Anthurium. Glossy leaves, deep green structure, bright spathes in red, pink, or white. Anthurium showed capacity in controlled testing to reduce ammonia, a compound released from cleaning products and certain household chemicals. Ammonia is particularly irritating to the respiratory tract and eyes. While most people associate air pollution with formaldehyde or benzene, ammonia is common in bathrooms and kitchens. Anthuriums tolerate moderate indoor light, but prefer brightness for flowering. They also transpire moderately and maintain consistent leaf surface area due to their thick, waxy leaves. The leaf surface plays two roles: chemical absorption, particulate interception. Because of their dense, glossy leaves, wiping them occasionally enhances their particulate trapping contribution. They prefer slightly moist soil and benefit from indirect light. Placed in bathrooms or near kitchens, they combine aesthetic appeal with targeted ammonia support. They are not as rugged as snake plants, but in stable environments they offer both beauty and environmental contribution. We've covered resilient plants, we've covered specialists, we've covered high-output performers. Now we finish with plants that either survive extreme conditions, offer unusual metabolic advantages, or deliver serious total biomass for sustained environmental contribution. These are the ones that stand out. Number 16. ZZ plant, Zamioculcas zamifolia. If durability was a competition, the ZZ plant would win without trying. Thick stems, glossy oval leaves, underground rhizomes that store water. The ZZ plant tolerates low light, fluorescent lighting, dry air, weeks without watering. That resilience matters, because the most effective plant is the one that survives long enough to function. In controlled testing, ZZ plants demonstrated capacity to reduce certain VOCs, including xylene and toluene. While they don't have massive leaf density like a fern, their long-term stability compensates for it. The leaves are thick and waxy, providing durable surface area for gas exchange and particulate interception. They're ideal for interior offices, hallways, apartments with limited sunlight. Overwatering is their only real enemy. If you want air-supporting biomass in a room where nothing else survives, this is your answer. Number 17. Gerbera daisy. Gerbera daisies were standout performers in early sealed chamber testing for benzene reduction. Benzene is commonly associated with plastics, synthetic fibers, adhesives, and outside pollution that enters indoor spaces. Gerberas combine broadleaf surface, flowering biomass, strong light requirements. They need bright light, ideally near a sunny window. They also require consistent watering and airflow. These are not neglect plants, but during their active growth and flowering phase, they provide substantial leaf mass relative to size. Their large leaves increase gas exchange surface area. They work best in high-light environments like sunrooms or bright kitchens. Shorter lifespan indoors than tropical foliage plants, but high performance during peak condition. They're powerful, but conditional. Number 18. Weeping fig, Ficus benjamina. Tall, structured, tree-like. Weeping figs introduce vertical scale into indoor environments. In controlled testing environments, Ficus species demonstrated formaldehyde and VOC reduction capacity. What makes the weeping fig powerful isn't just chemistry, it's biomass. A larger plant contains more leaves. More leaves equal more total surface area for gas exchange. In larger rooms, small plants barely register. A tree-sized ficus does. It prefers bright, indirect light and stable positioning. It dislikes being moved frequently. Once established, it can grow for years and develop dense canopy structure. That canopy increases total environmental interaction. Placed in living rooms or open-plan spaces, it functions more like a biological air column than a decorative accent. It requires moderate watering and well-draining soil. When healthy, it's a long-term environmental contributor. Number 19, Kentia palm, Howea forsteriana. Kentia palms are often mistaken for decorative luxury plants. They're more than that. Tall, arching fronds, slow-growing but substantial over time. Kentia palms tolerate lower light better than many palms, making them suitable for indoor living spaces without direct sun. They contribute humidity stabilization, leaf surface density, vertical air interaction. Their long fronds increase distributed surface area rather than compact mass. That allows air to circulate through the plant structure rather than around it. They require consistent watering but are not fragile. Slow growth is an advantage. Less pruning, less maintenance. Placed in corners of living rooms or offices, they provide continuous environmental contribution without overwhelming a space. They're not the fastest growers. They're the long-term stabilizers. Number 20. Areca palm, the most balanced overall. Yes, we mentioned palms earlier. But if one plant consistently appears in both research and real-world interior use, it's the areca palm. Why? Because it combines everything. Significant biomass, feathered fronds for distributed gas exchange, humidity contribution, moderate VOC reduction in controlled testing, aesthetic presence. Areca palms can grow shoulder height indoors. That scale increases total metabolic activity compared to small desk plants. They transpire steadily, supporting indoor humidity balance. They perform best in bright indirect light and require consistent watering. But they are not overly delicate. In larger rooms, they feel like they change the environment rather than just decorate it. They don't replace industrial filtration, but they provide the most balanced combination of size output, adaptability, aesthetic integration, which is why they earn the final position. Modern homes are sealed. Synthetic furniture, synthetic fabrics, synthetic materials, and the air just sits there. Plants don't just decorate a room. They metabolize, they transpire, they exchange gases, they run continuously. No noise, no filters, no electricity. One plant won't transform your house, but distributed properly, they change how a space feels. Start with 3. Build from there. If this helped, hit like so more people see it. Subscribe for more plant breakdowns that actually matter. And tell me in the comments, which one are you adding first?